biggest of right now. Wilder, Fury 2, here we go.
Let's start with this. Well, I'm sure that most of you have heard already that Tyson Fury's boxing future is in doubt after a shock claim that a member of his team offered a farmer 25,000 pounds to lie about providing wild boar meat to cover up failed drug tests in 2015. Essentially, what the allegation is implying is that Tyson Fury's entire defense, his explanation for why there was Nandrolone in his system, was based on a lie. A lie that Lancashire farmer Martin Carefoot claims that he corroborated via his own testimony, based on the promise of a financial incentive. Essentially, he's saying he was paid to lie, and he went along with the lie. It's just that he was never paid for telling the lie, which does explain the why of the thing. Why did Martin Carefoot decide to come forward? If he did, it's because he didn't get paid.
That's it.
Although the when still has yet to be determined. When, as in, what the fuck took Martin so long to come forward? You understand? You're talking about something from, what, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
What took you so long?
Where you been?
Why here? Why now? And I think the answer to that question is Tyson Fury's newfound fame. The way that he went in there and dominated Deontay Wilder in the second fight has gotten more press, more praise, more accord than when Tyson Fury unseated the then unified champion at the weight, the most dominant force in the division at the time, Vladimir Klitschko. The reception that Tyson Fury got for that fight, as opposed to the reception that he got for this fight, are really night and day. He actually got a lot of negative comments for that Klitschko fight, whereas here, everyone's singing his praises, and perhaps Martin Carefoot saw this as an opportunity
to shake him down.
Listen, folks, there's always more to a story than meets the eye, and what we're hearing might just be the tip of the iceberg. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to find out that perhaps Martin Carefoot attempted to get in contact with Tyson Fury or members of his team. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that he actually did have communications with them, demanded the money that he was promised, and because he didn't get it, he decided to come forward. He decided to shake Tyson Fury down because, in truth, my stance on Tyson Fury's anti-doping case is very similar to my stance on Luis Ortiz's anti-doping case, or Alexander Povetkin's anti-doping case, Luis Nery's, Canelo Alvarez's, or Jarrell Miller's.
All of them.
My stance when it comes to Fury is the same as my stance when it comes to them, when it came to them. There's a reason there's something in your system. There's a reason that this needs to be investigated. And in all likelihood,
It's because you cheated.
it's because you deliberately took something. I mean, that's not that hard to believe. You got guys getting popped left and right all the time, so we're supposed to believe that Tyson Fury doesn't know how this Nandrolone ended up in his system?
Give me a break.
That was my stance back in 2016 when the news first broke, and that is still my stance here today. My opinions on that situation never changed. I believe Tyson Fury's wild boar story about as much as I believe Luis Ortiz's horse meat story. You're running around in fucking Miami, okay? What are you doing eating horses?
Guys eating horses?
That was his explanation for why there was a banned substance found in his system after that coyote fight. I didn't believe that shit any more than I believe this shit, okay? In all likelihood, it's because you deliberately took something to gain a competitive edge. It really was that simple, that cut and dry for me. Just like I didn't buy into Povetkin's meldonium story, okay? I mean, the bottom line here is, this is no news to me. You know, this doesn't alter my perceptions or change my mind about anything. I came to terms with this back in 2016, that it's likely just as it appears. I think the most pertinent question here is, at least when it comes to Martin Carefoot, is what's the end game here?
Eh?
You coming forward with these kind of allegations ain't gonna get you the money that you were looking for. If anything, you done got yourself in some hot water because you're basically saying that you perjured yourself. That if your story checks out,
If this is true.
you falsified corroborating testimony and implicated yourself in the process. That here and now in 2020, coming forward with these allegations, this information, coming forward with this stuff, it's not going to get you $25,000 anything.
It's not.
I mean, we're not talking about punitive damages here, okay? We're not talking about that because if your story checks out, the only thing you've done by coming forward is implicated yourself.
That's all you really did.
You're basically saying that you perjured yourself.
That's all you really did.
And that's not going to get you $25,000, 25,000 pounds, or 25,000 virgins, okay? That's not going to do nothing. That's not going to help you get the money that you're looking for.
It's not.
I'm pretty sure that money is the motivating factor here. That if this guy would have got the money that he was promised, he wouldn't have came forward and said anything. This is tantamount to trying to take a guy to court for selling you a pound of flour where you thought you were buying a pound of cocaine.
Your Honor, we reached an agreement. He was supposed to sell me a pound of cocaine, and when I opened the bag, it was baking flour. That's what it was.
What are you, a fucking idiot? What do you think, the judge is going to award you punitive damages or something like that? Is that what you think's going to happen when you come forward with this information? At minimum, what this does, if your story checks out, if you can substantiate what you're saying, all that proves is that you are an accessory to a crime. Before you go telling me that this guy can't possibly be this fucking stupid, before you run with that, consider that this guy, he's a fucking farmer. I got nothing against farmers. These are real salt of the earth kind of guys. But in the realm of law and legalese, well, I don't think that these guys are the brightest bulbs. And I don't think that Mr. Martin Carefoot really thought this through. Because at minimum, if he can substantiate what he's saying, he's put himself in the line of fire of the powers that be. Which goes back to my original question. What is the end game here for Martin Carefoot?
What is it?
What does he hope to achieve in pursuing this? You're going to go to court and say what exactly? What are you going to tell a judge? That you're suing Tyson Fury for the bribe money that he never gave you? Is that what you're going to do? I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's a strange situation, but it's a situation that Martin Carefoot is tasked with substantiating. That's saying that if the legal system over there in the United Kingdom is anything like the legal system here in the United States, the burden of proof rests with the accuser, not the accused. As here in America, you're innocent until proven guilty, at least ideally. And if the same rings true in the United Kingdom, it's going to be up to Martin to provide the evidence that substantiates his story, that substantiates what he's saying. So how hard is Martin willing to work to implicate himself? Does he have any documentation, any emails, any voice recordings, anything that would so implicate Tyson Fury, Huey Fury, members of their team, and provide the evidence, the insights that make up his story? Because if all Martin Carefoot has is his word, in the absence of evidence, in the absence of what would substantiate his claim, if all he's got is his word, well, it's his word against theirs.
And that's not going to cut it.
Oh, you can run around accusing people of whatever you want, but in order for it to hold up in a court of law, you've got to prove it. And if Martin can't prove it with some kind of documentation, some kind of emails, some kind of voice recordings, some photos, something, if he has little more to bring to this table than his word,
Is that it?
well, his word ain't enough. As you can imagine, there are those out there that are taking this as an opportunity to assassinate Tyson Fury's character on the heels of what is arguably his biggest victory, the one-sided beating he just gave Deontay Wilder. As you can imagine, the usual suspects are using this as a moral victory of sorts.
For who?
That whole Glovegate fiasco didn't get off the ground. The only guys that are actually talking about that are Wilder's fans, but there really aren't that many of them. Thus, you've got the same circle jerk group of morons passing around misinformation and agreeing with each other, while the rest of the boxing world points and laughs.
You guys are stupid!
Count Fred Hawthorne. passing around some kind of petition against the Nevada State Athletic Commission for, I don't know, perpetrating a fraud on the boxing community or buyer's remorse or whatever it is. And he knows just as much as I or you that that's not going to get off the ground. That's not going nowhere. He's just doing that for show. He's just pandering to his subscribers and telling them what they want to hear.
For views.
They know they're not going anywhere with that shit. So now, in their latest attempt to find a coping mechanism for the traumatic event they experienced as they watched their hero, their idol, their icon get beaten from pillar to post, in their latest attempt to try to wrap their minds around this, they want to get up in arms about Tyson Fury's Nandrolone case. And it's the funniest thing because if you're trying to assassinate Tyson Fury's character for something that happened in 2015, why have you spent so much time talking up Luis Ortiz, who had his own performance-enhancing drug fiasco in 2014? You guys have been selling him as the next best thing since sliced bread.
What the fuck y'all been doing?
And he got popped 2 times. But that never stopped Wilder's fans from talking this guy up like he's the second coming of Sonny Liston or any fucking shavers. Oh, so all of a sudden you guys fucking care about boxers who get popped for Nandrolone?
Give me a break.
I mean, if you're gonna sit here and assassinate Tyson Fury's character for something that happened in 2015, why don't you assassinate Luis Ortiz's character for what happened in 2014? It's the same fucking drug.
What's the difference?
Oh, I can tell you what the difference is. The difference is that Luis Ortiz lost to Deontay Wilder, whereas Tyson Fury beat Wilder like a fucking drum. That's the difference. And that's why these guys are reaching for anything and everything to try and explain away what happened. I mean, they can see that the Glovegate fiasco isn't a fiasco to anyone but them. That entire doctored up narrative doesn't seem to matter to the rest of the boxing world. It only matters to them, and they themselves don't matter.
No.
So they've got to latch on to something else. And they're latching on to this because, well, there's not any fights happening. There aren't very many distractions. This is as good a story to talk about as any, and it allows them to further vilify Tyson Fury for beating their hero into submission. Bad news is that even if this story is exactly as Martin Carefoot says it is, it's not going to change the outcome of the Wilder fight, as this story is in association with the Christian Hammer fight from many years ago. Thus, whatever happens with this thing, it's not going to change anything for Deontay Wilder. Tyson Fury is still the WBC champion. And there ain't a motherfucking thing you crying motherfuckers can do about it. It's not. There's only 2 people that can do something about it. Deontay Wilder, which most people think isn't very likely given the beating that he took, or Mauricio Suleiman. But as far as Mauricio Suleiman, the president of the WBC, he says, what credibility could someone who allegedly received money to lie have now? This seems to be a shakedown. Unless there's a formal case put forward, I don't see this matter other than fake news. So for all the Glovegate videos, all the bitching, moaning, crying, peeing, and shitting that we're seeing from Deontay Wilder's fans, for all that effort and all that energy, it's not going to change anything. It's not going to reverse the outcome. It's not going to give Wilder his belt back. It's not going to reverse time. It's not going to change history. It's just the latest narrative you have to latch onto because you are that incapable of dealing with the reality of things. The reality that your guy got embarrassed in his own backyard.
By a pillow puncher.
Got beaten from pillar to post by a guy who he said had 2 feather dusters at the end of his arms, okay? That's what happened, and nothing you do is going to change that. It's up to Wilder to change it. But I gather from how these guys have been behaving since that fight that maybe they don't think Wilder can do it, because if they did, they wouldn't have to compensate as much as they do.
As they have been.
Overcompensate. That if you really believe in your guy, hey, your guy, he's got a rematch clause. He activated it. There's gonna be a 3rd fight. So all the crying, bitching, moaning, whining, and complaining, it's unnecessary, because he is gonna get a shot at winning his belt back. But you guys, you must not like Wilder's chances. You must not like his odds. It's not enough that he's got a 3rd fight. He's got a 3rd opportunity to beat this guy where he failed to do it the first 2 times. No, that's not enough. It won't do. You've got to make video after video vilifying Tyson Fury, attacking him after talking him up in the build-up of both fights. The best versus the best, right? That's all you guys wanted to see. So you can turn around and complain like a bunch of low bitches because it didn't go your guys' way. That's all you're doing. You got Fred Hawthorne running around with some makeshift petition to do what exactly? And now you're so fucking concerned with Nandrolone cases, yet I don't see anywhere as much time spent talking about Luis Ortiz's Nandrolone case. That never stopped you guys from talking him up as some kind of boogeyman, some kind of monster, some kind of elite level guy, but when it comes to Tyson Fury, it's supposed to be different? Why? Is it because Tyson Fury beat the living shit out of Wilder, where Luis Ortiz did not? Because both of those guys tested positive for Nandrolone. But the difference is, most people will tell you, Tyson Fury has beat Deontay Wilder not just once, but twice. That's the only difference I see. That one guy beat Wilder and one guy didn't. So you'll talk up the guy that Wilder beat to make Wilder look good, but the other guy, one that beat his ass, oh, you want to talk him down. You want to vilify him and assassinate his character and say his gloves, he tampered with him, and he tested positive for Nandrolone in 2015, and all this shit as if any of this shit is gonna help Wilder in the third fight.
It's not.
As far as the WBC is concerned, this is a shakedown, this is fake news. And as far as VADA is concerned, in reference to Wilder, the real reason you guys are all over this story, as far as they're concerned, Tyson Fury was a clean fighter in both of those fights. And that's the only thing that matters. Funniest thing is, even if things went to plan for Martin Carefoot over there in the United Kingdom, guess what? Did you guys forget that Tyson Fury has turned his back on the UK fans? That his focus, his aim, is to make it here, stateside? You know that their jurisdiction doesn't extend beyond their shores, and you know that even if they went as far as preventing Tyson Fury from fighting anywhere in the United Kingdom, that would not stop him from beating Wilder from pillar to post yet again here stateside, and that he could very well move on from that and fight Anthony Joshua somewhere else. Maybe not here stateside. Maybe in Saudi Arabia. And even if UCAT and the British Boxing Board of Control felt so inclined to reopen this case, and they found things there that further implicated Tyson Fury and decided to prevent him from fighting in the United Kingdom, it really wouldn't fucking matter. It would be irrelevant to Fury's third fight with Deontay Wilder, as that fight would be taking place here in the United States, not the United Kingdom. I mean, hell, who knows? Maybe Tyson Fury saw this coming. Maybe that's where all that talk of abandoning the UK came from. You know, maybe that's what sparked those kinds of statements, those kinds of conversations. But one way or another, dwelling on this is an exercise in futility, as we all know what your real interests are.
We know.
And it ain't fucking Nandrolone.